Welcome to Teaching Thursday, where we focus on the 9 different areas of wellness. I am going to give you a type of assessment where you can see where you are in the 9 areas of wellness, the things that are your strengths that you should celebrate and be glad that you are already focusing on those areas, and maybe some other areas for you to think about, look into more. Maybe think about different practices that would help you to be healthier. So there'll be 5 statements. You can give yourself a plus or you can give yourself a check. If you want to pause the video, I strongly encourage you pausing to make notes like, okay, I do this well, or I need to focus more on this area. So I'm going to read a statement. If it is something that you are already doing, a plus or a check. And if not, then do something so that way you know, maybe just count out at the end how many pluses you have for each area, okay? So for the first one, my spiritual beliefs bring me comfort and challenge me to act morally. If you feel like you have a set of beliefs that bring you comfort and challenge you morally, then go ahead and give yourself a check or a plus. The next statement is, I have a community that shares and supports my spiritual beliefs. So if that is true for you, go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. So it's about having a community that shares and supports your beliefs. The third statement is, I partake in nurturing spiritual practices at least 4 days a week. So if you partake in nurturing spiritual practices at least 4 days a week, then go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. The fourth statement for spirituality is, I work for harmony in all my relationships, for myself, others, the natural world, and the divine. However that is for you, the sacred, the holy, the mystery, God, gods, whatever it is that you feel is divine. So if you feel like you are working in harmony for all of your relationship, yourselves, the other, the natural world, and the divine, go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. The fifth statement, I believe that my life has purpose. So if you understand that your life has purpose and that is a strong belief for you, go ahead and give yourself a check or a plus. So go ahead and total that for your spirituality and see how many you have between 0 and 5 for spirituality. The next one we're going to go on to is physical. So your physical wellness, go ahead and title that physical. So I drink 6 ounces of water most days. So almost every single day, do you drink 60 ounces of water every day? So give yourself a plus or give yourself a check. The next one is, I exercise for 30 minutes at least 4 days a week. Give yourself a plus or a check if you exercise for 30 minutes at least 4 days a week. The third statement is, I eat at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day with a balanced diet. So give yourself a plus or a check if you eat at least 5 servings of fruit and veggies a day with a balanced diet. Number 4 for physical, I feel rested after a nighttime sleep. So, if you work during the day, but when you have that main time of sleep, if you feel rested after that, so either give yourself a check or a plus if that is true for you. And I have yearly checkups. Give yourself a plus or a check if that's true for you, and then go ahead and add up that number to see how you were doing with your physical wellness. The next area is emotional. So go ahead and title emotional. So laughter is a regular daily practice. Give yourself a plus or a check if laughter is a regular daily practice. Number 2, I can openly discuss my emotions with the people I trust. Give yourself a plus or a check if you can openly discuss your emotions with the people you trust. Number 3, I regularly participate in healthy activities that reduce my stress level. So if you regularly participate in healthy activities that reduce your stress level, give yourself a check or a plus. Number 4, I use nonviolent techniques when I'm angry. So give yourself a plus or a check if you use nonviolent techniques when you are angry. And the last one is that I feel positive about myself. So if you feel positive about yourself, go ahead and give yourself a check or a plus. So go ahead and tally up to see where you are for emotional wellness. Then we're going to go on for sexual. So go ahead and title that sexual. So the first statement is, I am comfortable with my gender identification. Give yourself a plus or a check if you are comfortable with your gender identification that you yourself identify as. Number 2, I am safe emotionally, physically, and always during my sexual experience. So as long as you will always feel completely safe during your sexual experience, give yourself a plus or a check. The third statement is my sexual expression is safe towards others. Give yourself a check and a plus if your sexual expression is safe towards others. And my sexual release brings me joy. Give yourself a check or a plus if you can say that your sexual relief brings you joy. And the fifth one is I have control of my sexual expression. So give yourself a plus or a check if you are in control of your sexual expression, and go ahead and tally that up for your wellness. The next topic will be social. So the first statement is I have someone in my life that I can express feelings and thoughts to in a mutual relationships. So I have someone in my life that I can express feelings and thoughts to in a mutual relationship. Go ahead and give yourself a check and a plus if that's true. The second one, I balance my needs with the needs of others. So if you balance your needs with the needs of others, go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. I have a core group of people who are reliable, honest, and trustworthy. So if that is true for you, that you have a good core of people that who are honest and reliable and trustworthy, give yourself a check or a plus. For the fourth one, I have healthy boundaries. I give my time, talent, and treasure to others. So you have boundaries with giving your time, talent, and treasure to others. Give yourself a plus and a check. I have social interactions that are joyful and fun. So if that is true for you, go ahead and put a check or a plus. Go ahead and tally that up for social. Environmental. I live in an area that has low illness rates due to environmental factors. Give yourself a plus or a check. If you live in an area that has low illness rates due to environmental factors. The second one, my environments are safe from hazards. So if your environment is safe from hazard, give yourself a plus or a check. I regularly act to help the condition of the earth. So if you reduce, reuse, and recycle, so give yourself a plus or a check if you are conscious about reducing, reusing, and recycling to help the natural environment. Number 4, I make conscious decisions about my resources, such as shopping, the elections, anything where your resources are going to go. So the fifth one is my environment inspires peaceful and calm emotions within me. So give yourself a plus or a check if your environment inspires calm and joy and peace when you are in your home environment. The next category is intellectual wellness. So the first statement is I regularly participate in an activity that stimulates learning. So if you actively participate in an activity that stimulates learning, give yourself a plus or a check. If you think before you act on a regular basis, give yourself a plus or a check. If you see issues as challenges and problem solve how to improve situations, go ahead and give yourself a check or a plus. Number 4, I participate in life-affirming self-talk. So if you are always talking to yourself in a positive way, you go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. If you learn from life and apply life lessons, go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. So go ahead and count that up for intellectual. The last 2 categories are occupational and financial. So for occupational, my life is enriched through my occupational situation. If you feel that is true, then give yourself a plus or a check if your life is enriched with your occupational situation. I feel competent in my work. So if you feel like you are capable of doing your job, doing your work, in your career, then go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. If you look forward to your work time, give yourself a plus or a check. So if you enjoy what you are doing, go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. I have clear boundaries about my work time versus my leisure time and stick to my boundaries. So if you are making sure that you are balanced with the time that you need for yourself and also with your work, then go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. I enjoy working alongside my coworkers and supervisors. So if you enjoy the people that you are with in your career, your job, then go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check and go ahead and tally that up. The last category is financial. So the first statement is, I have enough money for daily needs. Give yourself a plus or a check. I live within the money that I accrue each month. So if you are living within your budget of how much money that you make, go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. I understand how financial programs work, loans, banks, etc., and can utilize them when I desire. So if that is true for you, then go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. Money is not the only priority when making life decisions. If that is true for you, then give yourself a plus or a check. If money is not the only priority when making life decisions. And the last one is, I spend, save some, and share some. So if you spend some, save some, and share some, then go ahead and give yourself a plus or a check. So this should give you an idea about different areas of wellness. I hope that you're rocking it in all ways, but if not, just remember that those are just areas of growth, but recognize all the strengths that you have, because those are going to help you in the areas where you need some growth. So thank you for joining me on Teaching Thursday. And as always, blessed be, always seeking for peace.